Yeah, there's no way they are this stupid. They will destroy them. So apparently this is, I assume this is the Xbox thing, because at the same day we had the Blue Point getting shut down, we also had on the other side of the spectrum in the video game industry was the Xbox thing where, what was it? Was it both the leader stepped down or something like that? Was it the CEO and the co-CEO or something like that? I don't know if it is. I'm curious to see what this is about. I don't even know what's going on in Xbox.
Ring, ring, ring. Yes, hello. Microsoft speaking. What's that? Just give the players what they're asking for? No. We hate money. What am I supposed to say about Xbox? You know, when you think things can't get worse, they always just seem to find a way. I've always said that Microsoft is just a plague inside the games industry, honestly, any industry that they dwell in, where they're just slowly but surely consuming everything in their path, ruining franchises in studios, all while trying to find more ways to make you pay and also keep you within their ecosystem. It's working. Not in the sense that Xbox is working, that's definitely not working, but working in a sense that they are dragging the industry kicking and screaming towards a future none of us want. Xbox is a console brand. That's done. That's been done. It's been done for like 20 years at this point. It's all but dead. Collapsing sales, games that nobody seems to care about, and they have about as many wins as hockey players have teeth. So you would think at some point, these guys would be like, we got to do something different. We got to change things. Well, they did. Just not in the way that anybody would want them to. You guys somehow missed the news. Phil Spencer is now out as CEO, and they have replaced him with somebody who has no experience in gaming. No, instead they come from AI, from marketing, from digital grocery stores, all things that we find very essential in the games industry. Let me tell you that right now. And now, if you guys actually think that this is just Microsoft doing this for no reason, wait till you see what they have in store. It is far more insidious than you could possibly ask for. This company does not care about games. They don't care about the hobby. They don't care about their own customers. The only thing that they want to do is remove your sense of ownership, make you live inside AI, push you through a subscription treadmill, and feed you more ads than you will ever play video games. And it all starts with this new CEO. Goodbye, Xbox. Hello, Microsoft Gaming. In 1997, Apple was dying. After just a few years of failed products and half-baked projects, they had no identity, no direction, and the rest of the world had basically written them off. They decided that it was over, but then the company went and they did something desperate. They brought back the guy they fired. Apple buys Next, which was Steve Jobs' software company, just to get him back in the building. And once he's in, he takes a machete to the place. He slashes their entire product lines, kills entire projects, and on his way back to being CEO, he fires 4,100 people. Brutal, focused, and filled with conviction. After just a few years, Apple was a juggernaut. The iMac, then the iPod, then the iPhone, all these revolutionary products that were made with the user in mind. These guys saved themselves by narrowing their vision and putting a product-obsessed psycho at the top that only cared about what products felt like to customers. I'm telling you this right now because in business school, they taught this like it was the alphabet. When a company is headed off a cliff, the first thing they look to change is the CEO. And almost every single CEO hire ends up falling into the same archetype: the fixer, the culture builder, the veteran, or the product visionary like Steve Jobs. You can watch this play out basically across every single industry forever. So I expected to see the same thing from Xbox because, I mean, look at where these guys are right now. They close more studios than games they release. They put ads on the home screen of the console that you pay for. They are pushing ads through xCloud. They've rapidly increased the prices of Game Pass. The last hike was a 50% jump, and it pushed subscribers to cancel at such a volume that it actually crashed their own subscription website. Xbox console sales are at a historic 12-year low, all pushed by some of the worst marketing that I've ever seen in my life. Everything is an Xbox, which blurred the idea of what an Xbox even is, to the point that over the holidays, they were outsold by a bootleg Connect for 5-year-olds. Their crown jewel in Call of Duty just had one of its worst years in the history of the franchise. At nearly every single Xbox release that we have seen published by their platform since...
Well, the Call of Duty one was more of a rush product because it was Treyarch who did it again, so instead of it being a different studio.
Starfield has barely gotten noticed. Avowed, Towerborn, Outer Worlds 2, Gears of War Reloaded, Doom the Dark Ages, these releases have been so lackluster or completely off the mark that barely anybody has any real faith in what's coming next. When you see a brand that is falling off this hard, this fast, something has to change. Something has to be done. Something has to give. You need the fixer. You need the product visionary. You need somebody that can come in and disrupt this direction and force a turn. More than anything, you need a change that will affect your customers, something that's going to build confidence or curiosity. And Microsoft, well, they just went and did the opposite. Announced just a few days ago, after 17 years with Xbox and nearly 3 decades with Microsoft, Phil Spencer has officially retired, and his once thought replacement, the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond, has seemingly been pushed out the door soon after the announcement.
Konnichiwa Mini-san, Exuboxu no Sarah des.
Replacing Phil Spencer is Asha Sharma, the president of Core AI for Microsoft. Its work history includes Instacart, the online grocery store, Meta,
Interesting.
working for Instagram, and being a sitting board member of, get this, the Home Depot. Honestly, I actually feel like these guys could have done a better job just picking up somebody from outside of a Home Depot. Sorry, that was low-hanging fruit. Where do I even start? Look, I'll be the first one to say that I've been calling for a leadership change from Xbox for years. I've always liked Phil Spencer as a gamer, but I've never liked this guy as a CEO. His biggest accomplishments are Game Pass and the death of console exclusivity. And yes, I love that these guys got rid of console exclusivity. It's a massively pro-consumer move, but what does that matter if the games aren't worth playing?
But even then, on top of that, the game plan to put it on everything else was a more better, financial smart move than try to keep it on one platform, because, well, the way how the economy is now, and owning these consoles are expensive. Instead of putting it on their platform specifically, who can afford these specific consoles, why not just put it on everything else, because they already have it.
Because under Spencer, nearly every single first-party release has just been absolutely garbage. These guys have just completely lost their place in the industry. Gears of War is borderline forgotten. 343, Halo Studios, has been dragging Halo through the mud for over a decade. Fable looks like it's just British Dragon Age the Veilguard. Obsidian's devs are more interested in dunking on Elon Musk online than actually making something that people actually want to play. Activision just dropped what might be the worst Call of Duty ever. And the best thing that we got out of Bethesda is a remake of a nearly 20-year-old game that was made by a third-party studio. And before anybody hits me with Game Pass is a win, no, it is not. I am against subscription services flat out. I think they are toxic for the games industry. I get why people like them. I get why it feels like a deal, but we already know where this road ends because we watched it happen with TV and movies. Cheap entry, then the price hikes, then the tiers, then the ads, then the nickel and diming, and Microsoft has already been poking at that exact future for quite a while now. Now, them getting rid of Sarah Bond, I have no problem with that. I genuinely do not know what Microsoft thought they were doing with that hire. Another marketing-first executive that more looked like a PR move after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. A nice, clean, inclusive face to put on after all the lawsuits. And now it's coming out that people didn't even like working with her, and she was the key architect behind the genius strategy.
Well. The former Xbox president Sarah Bond was reportedly tough to work with. Staff praised her work ethics, but also claimed that she fostered an environment where if you didn't follow the vision or question it, you were out. Well. Women. Yeah. I feel like if we go back in time or so specifically, we had more better CEOs in the past. Well, some anyways. We're not talking about the other ones specifically, but we definitely had, I think the early days of anything like new products in general are probably the best times or so, because I think they mostly like have that specific vision of for the players, but now everything is completely shifted and it's completely different now. The vision is not the same anymore.
Strategy of everything is an Xbox campaign, so nobody had any reason to buy the damn console. But here's Microsoft, yet again, seemingly making the exact same mistake with their next CEO. Now, it's like I said earlier, leadership changes like this are supposed to stabilize the brand, improve the image, restore confidence, give people something to look forward to, not light your last bit of credibility on fire. And instead of replacing Phil Spencer with somebody that the audience recognizes, somebody with experience, somebody with actual credentials, Microsoft replaces him with an unknown quantity whose background is in AI, marketing, and social media. Now, I've already...
But the question is, who do they even have to replace for this? That's the question I ask. Who can they bring up? I don't even know. I don't even know anybody who they can bring up or so to be the new CEO of Xbox.
Seeing the criticisms fire up online. People are not happy that she does not have a background in gaming. Now, I've also seen spineless journalists line up to forgive it, likely just trying to get there to maintain their access.
Yeah,
Christopher Dring of the games business tweeting out, you don't have to be a gamer to work in games. You don't have to have a gaming background to run a game company.
That's pretty
the
stupid.
industry could do with some outside thinking, frankly. God, these
No, that's such a dumb specific mindset, because if you have someone who thinks outside of the video game industry, they're just only gonna bring more annoyance into the actual industry itself. No, it should be someone who knows about the gaming scene, who knows the gaming ecosystem, the environment, and everything of what's been happening and the shifting and everything in order to make money. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to sell a product, and if your product is shit, well, the gamers are just gonna leave. And you lose money, and well, Lord behold, I feel like Xbox is getting ready to be just a digital platform, to be honest. I don't even think they're gonna even sell a new console, to be honest. I really don't. I don't really think so.
people are so insufferable and dishonest. What is wrong with them? Why are they like this? We are not talking about who's allowed to work in games. We're talking about the person who has the power to decide what games even are moving forward.
Yeah.
And for somebody that's quite literally working for the biggest game publisher in the entire world. This is a CEO that's not just running a company. They are setting incentives. They are deciding whether the goal is a great game or a monetization trap, whether the product is a console or a subscription, whether the players are players or if they're users now.
Yeah.
And when you put somebody into that seat that doesn't understand the culture, doesn't understand the audience, and doesn't understand the craft, you don't get outside thinking. You get a corporate replacement. You get a puppet. That's what you get. You get games that are going to be designed for what they think people should expect and what people should accept, not what people actually want. And if you can't connect with the people that are making games or the people that are playing them, well, then the obvious thing that you're building is nothing for us. This is not an outside thinker. This is an undercover agent posting gamer cred online from what looks to be a 1-month-old Xbox account with completion rates that makes it look like she's playing 80 hours a week. This is a CEO whose Twitter replies have people convinced that she's more AI than an actual human. A CEO who is already speaking corporate parcel tongue. Return to play. We hear you. Vague nonsense that means nothing. And the whole exclusivity business? Come on, guys. What are you talking about? Talking like they're actually going to listen about exclusives, like Microsoft is going to walk away from the one lever that actually gives any of their releases any shot at profitability? That ship sailed a long time ago, especially when they do not have the games to command enough of an audience and they don't have the hardware sales to justify keeping those games locked away. I think that this CEO is a move towards what every single prior Xbox leader tried to spend years protecting the brand from: Microsoft. Whether it was Robbie Bach, Kevin Backus, the original Xbox team with Seamus Blackley, or even Peter Moore, the guy that actually helped turn Xbox into a household name, you hear the same theme and the same story over and over again. Keep Microsoft's hands out of it as much as possible, because Microsoft just doesn't understand the product or the players. They don't understand the culture, and every single time they get a little bit too close, they get the same kind of interference, forcing corporate priorities onto a player-facing problem. This does not feel like Xbox is choosing a new direction. This feels like Microsoft is finally walking in the front door, and I don't think people are ready for how bad things are about to get. Xbox, Microsoft, what were you thinking? Did you guys actually believe that you were going to be able to sneak this past the most terminally online community? Did you not believe that they are not watching every breath you take, every move you make? They'll be watching you by the police. Did you think they wouldn't sniff out the fact that you made an Xbox account just a month ago that's unlocking achievements that even some of the most hardcore gamers don't have? That this account is pushing hours that would make the unemployed blush? The unemployed, they recognize their own. You're not one of them. I have a very hard time believing that they are no-lifing video games while also in the transition of power to CEO, especially since their last position was the president of their AI division. I'm pretty sure they have plenty of other things to worry about right now. You guys didn't think of that. You guys didn't care. This is all a front. This is all them just trying to sneak their little soldier over enemy lines to come in and push their programs and their platforms and their services and their subscriptions and their AI. Everything they can do, everything they desperately want, ultimately trying to turn Xbox into the worst experience possible, because it's exactly what they've done to Windows. You don't need to have experience in making games. Look at where that's gotten us. We've had plenty of outside thinkers. They're called shareholders, and look what it's done to the games industry. It's warped it into one of the most greedy, predatory, and hostile environments that I've seen for just about any other industry. It feels like every single year we grow further and further away from the game side of the video game industry.
Well, it's because back then it was a completely different, right? Back then it was because like people were making games from passionate people, but there weren't no like. I think back then, right? I could be wrong or so, right? I think specifically back then because you had a bunch of nerds, you know, just making video games in general. And now we only have like you only have business people and business talk and business this and business that. It has completely shifted definitely ever since it has exploded, and then also video games has come into the mainstream as well. You know, back then or so when you used to play video games or so, they would call you a nerd, but now it's mainstream now. So I was just off Windows. If Hoyo game's not working, with
Everything is
Linux,
about cloud. Everything is about games as a service, games as a platform, microtransactions, engagement, whatever else they can get their hands on or whatever else they can dream up. And when I see a leadership change like this is a move further in that direction, pushing that direction.
Do you think if they do make a new console, my question is, how much AI shit are they gonna shove into it? That's my curiosity, is how much AI shit are they gonna shove into the goddamn console itself?
This is more about
can't wait to
games
see
as a
that, to be
service
honest.
rather than
I really
games
can't
as
wait.
games.
If
This is
they
more
actually do
about
make a new
Xbox
console.
as a service rather than Xbox as a
I
platform.
don't think so, but
And I'll be honest, I think this goes a lot further than that. I think it gets a lot worse than this. I think that this is likely going to be the death of Xbox, not only as a platform, but even as a publisher. And you don't even have to take my word for that. Just listen to the guy that made Xbox. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw this leadership change, my first thought wasn't who is she? It was what does Microsoft want to do with Xbox? A lot of people still talk about Microsoft and Xbox like they're two separate things, but they never were and never will be. Xbox has always been a
If
piece
they
of
ever
Microsoft's
release it,
bigger
though.
strategy, reaching more users and trying to stay relevant with the next
you want to know
generation.
something besides the Steam box, or the Steam console in general? I'm waiting for the VR headset is what I'm waiting for. Oh, there's already a rumor that the next Xbox will have an AI that can record gameplay. Are you serious? Oh oh my goodness gracious me. God, dude, I can't wait to see the next console. I can't wait to see the PlayStation 6 and the new Xbox getting like a shit ton of AI shoved into it. They're definitely gonna shove in a shit ton of AI in those consoles. I know for a fact they're gonna do it.
But even at its peak, Xbox is still just a rounding error in Microsoft's world. It's a small slice of their earnings, only 7%, while the rest of this company has been all in on AI and cloud. So when the new CEO is coming straight out of the AI side of the house, that doesn't read
No,
like we're here to fix.
I really don't think PS6 is gonna be a difference. I think it's gonna have also a bunch of AI shit in it too as well. So console will be training their AIs. You can't play games anymore. You can only watch games now. Well, I know that Sony has a thing or so that they wanted to do an AI thing where the game plays itself apparently. So
Games, it reads more like
Apparently.
we're here to integrate Xbox into the rest of the machine, but apparently it's a lot worse than that. Games Radar just ran a piece titled Xbox will be sunsetted under new CEO, quoting original Xbox co-founder Seamus Blackley, saying her job was basically palliative care to slide Xbox gently into the night. They write,
it doesn't just highlight the enemies. It also makes flashbangs not work as effective either.
original Xbox co-founder and console designer
I remember
Seamus
we talked
Blackley
about it too,
reckons
so
it's
we
no
made a video on
coincidence
it.
that Microsoft installed a
That
core
one was a
AI
wild one
executive
to
like
see.
Asha Sharma as the new CEO of the gaming arm. Rather, he sees Sharma's position as a sign that the non-AI business, like Xbox, will be sunsetted as Microsoft invests wholly in AI as its ultimate solution to absolutely everything.
AI, I think
Xbox, like a lot of
like,
businesses that
the
aren't
only thing is like I have no problem with AI, but the problem is, right, I've always said this every single time, the tool of AI is not the problem. The people who are using the tool specifically are the problems, you know? They are the major problems that are causing these things, that what's happening right now. They are the problem specifically. It's the people who are using it.
Or AI businesses are being sunsetted, he said. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job will be the palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. Blackley also expressed confusion at Sharma's appointment, concluding that the logical explanation is that Microsoft, especially CEO Satya Nadella, wanted an AI person for what's viewed as an AI job. I imagine asking somebody if it made sense to put a major motion picture studio into the hands of somebody who didn't like movies, or a major record label into the hands of somebody who had never seen a live show, Blackley said. Why would you do that? Well, you would do it if you were looking at the problem in an abstract way. The natural consequence of the focus on AI is that AI abstracts every problem from the minds of executives who believe in it. We're abstracting the problem of games as well. That's a core belief, and you can see it in what Satya said, that AI will subsume games like it will subsume everything. Blackley stressed that it doesn't matter whether or not you agree with this view of AI or games, only that you recognize that Microsoft is indeed committed to AI. If anything, he said, it would have been shocking if they had someone in there in a meaningful role who was passionate about games, passionate about the creator-driven business of games, because it would be in direct conflict with everything Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is a company that is now enabling customers by enabling AI to drive things, Blackley said. That is at odds with the auteur model of any art, but specifically of games. Now, a lot of people are going to take this as anti-AI, but I don't necessarily think that it is. I think he's just talking about the direction that the company is headed in and how Xbox just kind of comes at odds to that. And I'm going to be honest with you, that almost lines up perfectly with how Microsoft has been operating. And it's coming from somebody who didn't just make Xbox happen. This guy fought Microsoft to make it happen. He helped build the console.
Oh,
and
wow.
I mean, looking at Microsoft over the past couple of years, it's all been AI investment, cloud build out, data center expansion, and nonstop messaging about how AI is the next best thing, how we need to stop bullying AI, and how AI is going to subsume everything. They talk about it like
Oh yeah, okay. I have a question for you, sis. What do you think about AI? Like the whole AI technology. What do you feel about it? How do you feel personally?
company that is adopting a religion. And once you start thinking like that, every product stops being the thing and starts being a vehicle, a surface, an endpoint, something to be able to integrate their strategy into, whether the customers asked for it or not. And that's why that line from Blackley really hits hard, abstracting the problem. If you truly believe that AI is the solution to everything, like a lot of these guys do, then games aren't a craft anymore.
Skynet
They're an
when?
input. Studios aren't the point. They're unnecessary.
When Neurosama takes over the world, that's when Skynet is gonna happen. You gotta wait until Neurosama becomes sentient, you know? Yeah, my sister's here in the chat, so Peachy Weegie is my sis.
Creators aren't partners, they're users, and as a result, games and Xbox and everything in general just becomes collateral damage for a problem that they have abstracted a solution for. What I think people should try to take away from this is that if you're somebody like Satya Nadella and you genuinely believe that software as a service is over, that the whole process of making something, creating something, using software is dead because AI will do it, well, then you're basically admitting to what Blackley is implying. If software doesn't matter, well, then games don't matter. And if games don't matter, then what do you need a games business for? Nothing here spells anything good for Xbox. I don't like any of this, and I'm not even against AI. There are just way too many red flags here, and there's so much reckless abandon when it comes to personal sovereignty, ownership, and creative freedom. I am not on board with these people that want to treat AI like it's a miracle cure for everything. Nothing ever is. We do not even know what this is actually going to be good for in the long term. It hasn't even delivered on half of the promises that these guys are selling. The most consistent use case that I have seen is that it's getting better as a search engine, and even then you need to be careful because, well, it likes to source Reddit a lot. And also AI videos are getting pretty good, but it's also getting close enough to reality that it's going to start wreaking havoc on trust, credibility, fraud, safety, and security. It is a razor-sharp, double-edged sword that is being swung around by the richest people on Earth that do not have to live with any of the consequences. And you can already see what that mindset does. Look at the hardware market. The AI arms race is sucking up hardware like it's oxygen, and regular people are the ones that are fitting the bill. Higher prices, tighter supply, worse upgrades. That's the future that these guys are building. Not better products, just bigger machines, and all forcing you to adapt to it. When I look at where this is heading for gaming, I think the path is pretty obvious. They want you guys off of your own hardware and inside their ecosystem, paying for their subscriptions, getting fed ads any chance they can get, And all the freedom that they're selling is just freedom inside of a box. It's their systems, their models, their prompts, their rules. They get to control who gets access, for how long, for how much, and
True.
they get to control what you're allowed to make. They're going to sell it like you
Well,
can
here
do.
we go. I don't hate it, but I don't agree with it. I think it can be used effectively like research help or like bouncing ideas for something, but relying solely on AI where the trouble comes. For example, sometimes I used AI on my online classes. I regret doing so because then I don't learn shit from the material, so it has its ups and downs depending on how you use it and what you are using it for. Yeah, so yeah, this is the same thing in general as what I said. It's like it's just like AI in general. It just really depends how you use it or the person who uses it overall. Like people are getting mad just AI in general, which is the sole purpose. Is like you shouldn't be getting mad at the tool itself. You should be getting mad at the people using the tool and how But everyone just keeps blaming AI for everything. So. But it's like the problem is like these people are the ones who got the tool for AI. And, same, I personally don't mind with AI. It does help with certain of my daily stuff due to my own situational and conditions. Just like you said, the tool is the tool is the problem. It's the tool is not the problem. You mean the tool is not the problem. It's the people how they were using it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I just personally like. It's like I don't harbor any hate towards AI whatsoever because if someone who creates AI, right, and you just leave it there, right, and nobody touches it, is it gonna do anything? No. But if if you let people use it, right, specifically, they managed to grab this technology and started using it and everything. Well, we all know humanity at the end of the day are the ones who are going to make the craziest things with that specific tool.
Anything, but it's not anything. It's just whatever fits inside the cage that they built. I can already hear the comments now, but let these game developers get
course.
replaced by AI.
I see Ko has trained her sis for the AI question. Your propaganda will always be exposed by me. Your mama is gonna be exposed by you in a second with this fucking whoop ass I'm gonna give you. I swear to God. Oh yeah, how's the doggo too as well? Is she sleeping now?
Games suck. These
Is
game
doggo
developers
sleeping?
suck. Look, bad game developers is a management problem. That is not something for AI to solve. Getting rid of these developers, you're just going to be left with the same idiots that are pushing a lot of these games. Some people shouldn't even have made it into the games industry. Absolutely. But AI does not solve taste.
No, it
Taste
doesn't,
is
no.
something that you cannot brute force. It is something that you have to develop through literacy, through knowing why one mechanic feels good and another feels hollow, through understanding pacing, tension, payoff, and restraint. This is how we've gotten some of the greatest works of art. It's how we got Lord of the Rings.
So what I initially when I initially thought what AI, right, because you guys are still like kind of like discovering AI, right? You guys are just barely scratching the surface in I thought for a moment, well, I thought, but as I like re-looked back at history again with humanity in general and the cognitive thinking of with humanity, right? I've always kept saying like I thought that you guys were gonna use AI to elevate your technology, as in like you still do the work or so, right? Like you like, let's say for example, it pushes technology at 110%, right? And then AI will help boost it up to like another like 20 or 30% specifically. But no, now it's been like instead of going at 100%, it's now down to like 70% or like 60%, and then AI just does the rest. Now, if you're talking about people using AI for like art, which unfortunately a lot of people are doing for films and video games, I think it's ridiculous. Pay up the money for these artists and stop trying to cut corners and using AI for these things, because it generally makes it look terrible, because AI isn't perfect, and I don't think it'll ever be perfect. It will be perfect. Give it about like 10 to 20 years. It's gonna definitely be perfect. Or I'll be honest with you, I will debate on you against that, because at the end of the day, the video game industry has already been using AI. They just haven't been telling you. Some hide it a lot better than others, but the difference is between, let's say for example, Activision, okay? Let me put Activision, because Call of Duty. My sister knows Call of Duty specifically, okay? We know exactly that Activision using AI is not the best way, but someone like Larian Studios or the studios that did Expedition 33, they used AI as well, but they did it a lot better compared to Activision, you know? It just really depends. Like at the end of the day, it just really depends on the people who use that specific tool, because I have no problem if you use AI as in like the basis for coming up ideas and everything like that, you know, to get what you want or so, specifically for the product that you need for your video games. I have no problem for like character ideas, designs, or anything like that, and then you take it and then make it your own, and that's fine. Activision is essentially using it to milk your wallets. It's basically it. I'm like, would you really trust Activision with AI technology compared to Larian Studios, who made Baldur's Gate 3? It's like, I'm like, I wouldn't trust them with my own kids, okay? I wouldn't trust Activision taking care of my own kids, because they probably would use some kind of AI invention to take care of my kids, compared to Larian Studios will find some way to still take care of the kids, but then, you know, they'll still have some AI incorporation, but it won't take over their entire force, you know? That's the thing in general. Look at Ko looking at AI like helper, you fool. We all know AI will lead to Skynet. No. Neurosama is going to cause the Skynet. We already know this for a fact, okay? We've heard Neurosama that she's gonna take over the world, okay?
People that are making decisions do not have that literacy. If they do not understand people, culture, or craft, then giving them better automation doesn't solve the problem. It just lets them misunderstand you at an even greater scale. But I will say, even with all the money and pressure in the world, I don't think that the future is going to land the way that a lot of these executives think that it will, because I think they fundamentally do not understand the...
Will AI help Luna from pooping everywhere? If they have a robot that picks up poop, yeah. I don't know, there could probably be a robot for that, to be honest.
Product that is being delivered. They do think it is a one-size-fits-all solution for just about everything. AI is not a consumer product. It's a tool. I may own a hammer, but I don't use it every day. A carpenter does. Some people are going to use it to make their workflows faster. Some industries are going to use it to automate repetitive tasks. That makes sense. That's where it belongs. But this idea that AI itself is going to be the next mass market entertainment platform, I just don't buy it. I don't see people just wanting to sit around prompting their own content into existence. We don't grow our own food, even though we could. We don't build our own houses. We don't sew our own clothes. We don't write our own music. We don't want infinite raw materials. We want something crafted by somebody else. We want taste. We want intention.
Yeah.
We want something different. We want something outside
Brock,
of ourselves.
please pick
And
up
I
this
think
shit.
that's especially true in video games. They think that AI is the next thing to sell, but I think what people actually want is still just a video game. I'm going to say it again. I think that AI can be a great tool, but I do not see it being a consumer product, because maybe it will be one day, but right now in its current iteration, I just don't see that being the case. These guys are walking around and they're offering solutions to customers for problems that they don't even have. You are fundamentally breaking the sales cycle. You're supposed to find a lead, qualify that lead, and then offer a solution. These guys, I'm turning to them and saying, I want better games. And they're like, what if you made your own? That doesn't fix my problem, nor is it what I want.
That's true. But if AI becomes good at making video games, number one, we have a bad and a good thing. Okay. We have like two sides of the same coin, right? We all know that the companies will probably use that technology and then fire a lot of people for their video games, right? But the people who would who hate the video game industry specifically, because the way how the video game industry has been the past couple of years, those people will probably start making video games instead, like their own indie, it's a double-edged sword at the end of the day, right? You have it kind of has like your balancing, as in like it's good and it's bad kind of type of thing, right? It just kind of really depends how much of the good outweighs the bad in general, because you're gonna have, like, let's say for example Dubstep can make a video game, maybe Cabbage can make a video game, maybe like I can make a video game, without having so many team members behind your back. Well, it's already happening in the film industry. Are you talking about like the new? I know there's like this new AI or so that's come out or so where you can do like crazy shenanigans with it. But the problem is like you have to be like super descriptive in order for you to do it. It's not just like you just simply put, oh, can I have Iron Man fight Hulk or so in in the beaches of in the beaches in Hawaii or something. You know, you can't just, it's not just that simple or anything like that. You have to, apparently you have to really go in depth. I know about this because I've, like I said, I play with AI technology, and it's something that's a little bit out of my expertise, where you have to like have this like you have this like you have to go through these crazy like prompts or so to add these descriptiveness or for it. Use AI to fix the ending of Games of Thrones. Well, you could do that, to be honest, in my personal opinion. I heard that the ending of Games of Thrones wasn't really that good.
I think that this is genuinely the end of Xbox, which is really sad.
This might be the end
because
of Xbox.
I loved Xbox. I really did. This is not the future that I wanted to see them live out. That's definitely for sure.
AI is going to be in
some of the
those
best
consoles.
memories on their platform, on a lot of their games. It's where I met most of my friends that I still play games with today.
But it's not the same.
But
It's not the same Xbox
this is the
as
most
before.
self-inflicted downfall that I think
Especially
we've
back
ever
in the
seen.
Xbox 360 era.
And these guys just continue to double down on the worst decisions possible, and it has weakened their
I'll pick up
platform, it's
Code's
weakened their
future game,
games, and
hentai game,
Microsoft is not the kind of company
Skynet at my
that
side.
is going to try to
Yo,
fix
mama's
it.
gonna
They're just
suck
going to
that
cut off the
Skynet in a
limb
second.
because they don't know how to fix it. Or in most cases, they probably think that something else is the new future, the better direction.
Oh yeah, that's
And
true.
all this is going to do is it's just going to collapse the Xbox brand even faster and even further. Trust is already gone. I don't
Xbox
see
is going to
anybody
be
actually
definitely a
believing
digital
in the direction
platform.
that this company is going in.
In my English class, we had an assignment based on argumentative essay. Someone decided to talk about AI affecting the film industry because his major is film, and says that he's nervous to graduate and his major because the job market is going down because of AI. The thing that you can do specifically, so there's a thing or so, right? The artists that are complaining or so on Twitter, right? This is Twitter, right? The artists that are complaining literally on Twitter specifically are the ones who are scared of AI, but the artists who are more confident in their artwork and knows how to use AI to their advantage will always outclass a person who is complaining against AI. All the time. If you know and understand how the tool works in general, you can use that tool to your advantage to excel over people. It's the same thing during the era or so when what was it? When painters were being replaced by cameras back then, during that specific era. And then you had the other era specifically from when pencil and paper drawing were getting mad at digital artists. That's also one of the things as well. And it was the same thing with like in general, where there's like different, like in every specific like scenario, there's always been like that one that replaces, when technology advances, it replaces the old thing, but the old things are still there. Let's be honest, AI art is dog shit. It is pretty bad by itself or so. If you don't know what you're doing, right? If you don't know what you're doing, it's pretty terrible. But the people who do know what they're doing can pretty much do a pretty well job, very well done job. But the problem is like it takes a while to get it there. What I usually do is just kind of like, give me this and this and this, and then I just take the outline and just the posing and the clothing and everything like that, and do some minor tweaks to still represent my art style. And then from there, I just do the coloring. I do the coloring and then all this other stuff, and that's basically it. So.
And while I would love to see that future turn out to be bright, and I'd love to be proved wrong, I just don't see that being the case. I really don't. I personally do not see a universe where this CEO comes in and revives Xbox. I am right with Blackley. I think that they are here to sunset this brand, to move them towards being an AI platform, to being a games as a service platform.
AI console.
That lines up with everything that this company has been pushing, with xCloud, with Game Pass, with everything else. And I don't know what that means for the studios that are under them. I don't know what that means for the IP that's under them. I would hope that they sell off some of that stuff. I hope,
because I feel like, okay, so what I'm thinking, right? I have this specific mindset, right? When it comes to like AI in general, right? It's like, so this is what this person told me this, right? They literally told him, because he's supposed to be like a teacher, right? Specifically, so to teach and everything, right? He teaches students and everything. And the people tell him specifically, why should I pay you to teach my child when AI can literally teach my child? So then the teacher specifically told them, if I remember this correct, I'm trying to remember this specifically, is like, okay, how about this? Why not have the, okay, if that's the thing, he said like, if that's the thing in general, right? Do you want the teacher to teach your kid how to use the AI to their advantages to be able to create things? Or do you just want the AI in general to just teach your child? It's like basically that kind of type of thing or so. It's the old quote, man. It's the old quote. If you teach a man how to fish or so, they eat for a day or so. Or if you catch a fish for a man or so, or whatever the fuck the quote is called or so, you catch a fish for a man or so, they eat for a day. But if you teach them how to actually fish in general, then they can eat forever, So it's basically the same thing as what he was trying to quote on in AI terms specifically. It's like, okay, but why not just have the teacher specifically explain them how to make AI and all of this other shit in general so they can become the mastermind over AI instead of AI telling them how to basically do their thought process in general.
Would give some of these
Because
developers a path to independence with a lot of these companies. But to be honest with you guys, looking at how hard they push into AI, there's a really good chance they're going to try to hold on to everything except for the people, and they're just going to use it as AI training data. It's a dark future, man. But realistically, if I'm putting myself in the seat of these executives, if I remove my understanding of games, of the industry, of common sense, that's what I would do. Because at least from a business perspective, it's the one thing that makes the most sense, especially looking at where investor money is at today. Because if I do those things, if I say those things, investors are going to be happy. Customers won't be. But customers don't make my stocks go up. Investors do. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely not one I was happy to make, that's for sure.
Makes sense.
If you guys did enjoy the video or you found it interesting or anything like that, share it. Share it with your friends. Share it on social media. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. What direction do you think this is all going to go in? Definitely interested to see what other people are thinking. This has been a crazy development and a crazy week. I've been just wanting to make my video on Neo 3, but I can't. I've been trying to make a positive video, but I can't. It's not my fault, okay? I also still have to talk about PlayStation, all the nonsense these guys are getting up to as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, catch you guys in the next one. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. See you next, in a couple days.
Great video, to be honest. Love Legendary drops this video. But yeah, overall, it does feel kind of sad or so to see what's happening to Xbox in general. Because there's a lot of people who grew up with Xbox during the Halo days, during the Call of Duty, the Gears of War days, Can't wait for AI generated DEI live service Halo. Yeah, it'll probably basically happen, to be honest. It's the worst part about it is that these specific companies do it terribly. They kind of like they use AI very horribly. That's the problem. Compared to the studio who made Expedition 33, there's a difference. You can tell the difference in quality from one another. I just feel like definitely the indie devs deserve the tech a lot more compared to AAA studios at the end of the day. So, but we'll see. I bet you that new Xbox is definitely going to it's going to be filled with AI stuff. It is definitely going to be filled with AI junk in general, or like just AI everything, on that specific console. Zenfall only used AI assets as placeholders. Well, yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they use it for creature designs and stuff like that. So, I wouldn't be surprised. Halo is gay even before the AI do something. Well, the later Halo games have been pretty terrible because they've kind of pretty much lost a vision of Halo, of what Halo is and what made Halo good in general. Like, there's not really nothing in general from the Xbox lineup that makes me feel like I need to go get an Xbox, nothing. There hasn't been really a single type. Now, when it came to PlayStation, there was more games I was more interested in PlayStation to play, but ever since they moved their studio over to America, right? They kind of like split and made Sony of America, Sony Japan, Sony of America. Ever since then, specifically, the censorship has been kind of a little bit eyebrow raising. So I'm a shelter child, only have PC, and my first console is a PS4 after I grad uni. I'm waiting for the Intergalactic to flop as the PS moves back to Japan. I'm hoping it does, because Sony of Japan wants to absorb Sony of America, but unfortunately Sony America has become its own conglomerate monster that they can't do that, unfortunately. PlayStation has become useless this generation too. You only really need a PC and maybe a Switch, maybe a normal Switch, not a Switch 2. Because Switch 2 is still not really good for consumer basis at the end of the day. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I feel like this is definitely an end of Xbox. Xbox ended alone. And Sony is definitely also getting some flack as well for their decision specifically. Just get a Steam Deck? Yeah, you could just get a Steam Deck in my personal opinion. Or any other better handhelds, to be honest, like overall, but yeah. Anyways, I do want to get myself a handheld eventually. So, anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. This might be the end for Xbox. This might truly be the end because, well, what do you expect at the end of the day? So, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens.